And I see people that walk in the streets now, and I think, been there, done that. And you just keep tap dancing, something good will happen. Don't sit down and say, I can't, because then you can't.
Hollywood is built on illusion, but what happens when the industry's most respected voice shatters the mirror? At 88 years old, Morgan Freeman has seen it all, but nobody expected this. In a leaked admission that is sending shockwaves through the industry, the cinematic legend has reportedly named 6 elite actors who didn't just climb the ladder of success, they traded their very souls for it. We are pulling back the curtain on the dark occult rituals, the hidden blood pacts, and the terrifying price of ultimate fame. Who made the deal? Let's dive into the dark truth. Tyler Perry.
You know what the question is that a lot of people ask me all the time? How did you make it? How did you make it? Well, I tell you, there's only one answer for that. And I say this in...
Morgan Freeman is the definition of a Hollywood legend. For over 60 years, he has kept his dignity and stayed on top of a cutthroat industry without selling out. He won the Oscars and the Golden Globes and the ultimate respect of the world because he did things the hard way. He relied entirely on his timeless talent and that iconic voice. But Hollywood has a dark side. While Freeman took the long, honorable path, others chose a shortcut that brings instant billionaire status, massive power, and a total surrender to the industry's darkest forces. According to the whispers in the shadows, no one fits this profile more than Tyler Perry. On paper, Tyler Perry's story looks like the ultimate American dream. He grew up in New Orleans with an abusive father, fighting severe depression. He started with small stage plays in the 1990s, struggled, and then suddenly exploded into global fame. By 2005, his movie Diary of a Mad Black Woman changed everything. Suddenly, Perry wasn't just a filmmaker, he was an unstoppable force. In 2011, Forbes named him the highest paid man in entertainment, pulling in $130 million in a single year. Today, his net worth sits at a staggering $1 billion. He partnered with Oprah Winfrey and built a massive 330-acre studio in Atlanta on an old military base, which even features a full-scale replica of the White House and hosted Marvel's Black Panther. But ask yourself, how does one man get this much unchecked power in Hollywood? In a system designed to control creators, how did Tyler Perry become an empire unto himself? People suggest the answer is simple. You don't get that big without making a deal. True Hollywood insiders know that the industry thrives on collaboration unless you have a specific mandate to control the narrative. In 2020, Perry shocked the entertainment world by revealing a bizarre truth. He writes all of his scripts completely alone. He has no writer's room, no team, and no outside input. While critics argue this limits opportunities for young black writers, people see something much more sinister. When you write every single word yourself, you are the ultimate gatekeeper, ensuring that specific, repetitive themes required by hidden masters are delivered directly to the masses completely unchallenged. For decades, legendary filmmakers and cultural critics have looked at Perry's work with deep confusion and anger. Famous director Spike Lee publicly called Perry's shows coonery buffoonery, while journalists and scholars have pointed out that his famous character, Medea, is just a modern version of the old, offensive mammy stereotype. Shows like The Boondocks in Atlanta have aired brutal parodies, painting Perry as a cult-like figure who uses his actors like puppets. Why would a billionaire filmmaker continue to push images that critics say humiliate and mock his own community? In the world of Hollywood occult theories, people call this ritual humiliation. To keep your fame and your billions, you must feed the machine exactly what it wants, keeping the audience laughing at caricatures while you count your money in your private 330-acre fortress.
That's when you push me up against the wall and grab my ass again.
Tell us about the first time you ever met Tyler Perry.
Yeah, I met him at his studio opening party in 2019. I was working for an events company, and we met, and he said to me, are you an actor? And I said, well, not right now. A few of them were, did give me pause, but they weren't bad enough to think like this was a dangerous situation. Yeah.
According to your lawsuit, at one point early on, he bought you a car.
Yeah, he'd seen my Jeep around the studio that I was driving, and he said, that's not a great car.
The strongest illusions eventually crack, and lately, the dark energy surrounding Perry's empire has started to leak into the public eye through a wave of terrifying legal battles. In mid-2025, actor Derek Dixon filed a massive $260 million lawsuit claiming Perry used his immense power and influence to abuse vulnerable actors who just wanted a mentor. Just months later, on Christmas Day 2025, another actor, Mario Rodriguez, hit Perry and Lionsgate with a $77 million lawsuit alleging inappropriate behavior dating back to 2016. While some text messages later surfaced, trying to discredit Rodriguez, the pattern is impossible to ignore. When you build an empire on a hidden foundation, the truth eventually claws its way out. Morgan Freeman chose the path of light, aging gracefully with his soul intact. But Tyler Perry's billion-dollar empire is facing its darkest reckoning yet. The question isn't just how he got the money. The question is, what did he have to give up to keep it? Adam Sandler.
Shampoo is better. I go on first and clean the hair. Conditioner is better. My real poem by Randy Balducci. Can't you see me standing here? I got my back against the record machine. I ain't the worst that you seen. Can't you see what I mean?
While Morgan Freeman earned his legendary status through pure dramatic weight and undeniable respect, other Hollywood figures leave people completely stumped. To many, Adam Sandler remains the ultimate enigma of modern cinema. He was born in Brooklyn, New York, to a nursery school teacher and an electrical engineer, eventually finding his footing as a natural comic on the stand-up stage at just 17. He nurtured his talent at New York University, landing a recurring role on The Cosby Show before being discovered by Dennis Miller at a Los Angeles comedy club. Miller recommended him to Saturday Night Live producer Lorne Michaels, leading to a writing and performing gig in 1990. But how a performer with what many consider average talent turned a sketch comedy run into one of the most massive, lucrative film careers in history completely escapes explanation. Following his time on television, Sandler transitioned into major studio movies, starring in hit comedies like Airheads, Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison, and Big Daddy. He went on to write, produce, and compose music for his own films, even landing tracks like the Hanukkah song on the Billboard charts. Yet, a massive portion of the public watches his career with deep confusion, unable to understand what anyone finds funny about his movies. To his critics, the scripts feel like effortless, low-effort writing, leaving people to wonder how such basic material continues to generate billions of dollars. People suggest that in an industry that usually chews talent up and spits them out, a run this bulletproof requires forces beyond mere luck. The cracks in the friendly, goofy illusion began to show during the filming of his Western spoof, The Ridiculous Six, for Netflix. A dozen Native American actors and a cultural advisor walked off the set in absolute protest, citing deeply offensive elements in Sandler's script. The project included derogatory character names and highly controversial scenes that many felt crossed the line of basic human decency. While Sandler later dismissed the backlash as a misunderstanding and claimed the script was just broad satire, people began to look closer at the absolute immunity he seems to possess within Hollywood.
And I just think Dua Lipa would make the party perfect.
You can have a ball pit.
That's for kids. I've had my period for 7 months now.
That's a long period, sweetheart.
This immunity extended directly to his inner circle, sparking heavy backlash regarding Hollywood nepotism. With the release of his Netflix comedy, You Are So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah, the public grew furious over how heavily the film featured his wife, Jackie, and his daughters, Sadie and Sunny. While directors defended the choices as a wholesome tradition of working with family, people saw a gatekeeper using his immense power to build an isolated, untouchable dynasty. The divide deepened even further when Sandler sparked an online firestorm regarding how he raises his children. Comments circulated showing his desire to raise them the traditional way, prioritizing classic family values and actively shielding them from complex social issues and LGBTQ+ themes in media. While some applauded his stance, critics argued the approach lacked modern inclusivity. For someone who built an empire on crude, boundary-pushing humor, this sudden pivot to rigid tradition felt highly calculated. Morgan Freeman stayed relevant by respecting the craft, but Adam Sandler's baffling, untouchable career leaves people asking a much deeper question. Who is truly pulling the strings behind the enigma? Ashton Kutcher.
Are you okay?
I don't know, Michael. It's just that death is so unexpected, and we are such fragile beings, never knowing when the flame of our lives will be blown out by the wind of death.
What?
While some Hollywood figures shield themselves behind dynasties and traditions, others appear to rise through the ranks under circumstances so baffling that people can only point to one explanation: a total surrender of the soul. Christopher Ashton Kutcher was born in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, to a factory worker and a corporate employee. He grew up in rural Iowa, alongside a fraternal twin brother and a sister, eventually studying biochemical engineering at the University of Iowa before a local talent scout discovered him. By 2010, his massive public profile landed him on Time magazine's list of the 100 most influential people, and he even co-founded a social media studio and a foundation aimed at eliminating child slavery. He achieved mainstream fame by playing the dim-witted Michael Kelso on That 70s Show.
My wife dumped me and I want to die.
Oh, you poor baby.
I love her so much.
Yet when Kutcher was suddenly selected to replace Charlie Sheen on the mega-hit sitcom 2.5 Men, the entertainment world was left in utter disbelief. Producers could have chosen from 100 seasoned actors who would have done a superior job, but they picked a man who many feel simply plays Kelso, pretending to be someone else in every single role. To his critics, a career pivot of this magnitude makes no logical sense based on raw talent alone, leading people to believe his immense luck was manufactured behind closed doors. https://youtube.be/p8.
Wow, okay, I've got a lot I can't tell. So, I can't tell that one either. I mean, I'm like actually cycling through them. There was one moment, so it's not really a party story, but our relationship was really bizarre. So it started over Punk'd.
The illusion of the wholesome Midwest boy completely shattered when music mogul Sean Diddy Combs was arrested on multiple federal abuse charges. As the Diddy scandal opened a massive can of worms across the industry, Kutcher's name immediately cropped up, placing him in the hot seat. The two met early in Kutcher's career through his MTV hosting gig on Punk'd. Over the years, their bond grew so tight that Kutcher became a regular attendee at the rapper's infamous secretive white parties, even co-hosting one in 2009. In a resurfaced interview, Kutcher cryptically admitted he had a lot of wild party stories he could never tell, leaving people to wonder exactly what kind of behavior he witnessed or ignored to maintain his elite Hollywood status. The fallout has grown so severe that rumors now swirl about severe marriage troubles with his wife, Mila Kunis, and a desperate plan to pack up and move out of Hollywood entirely.
Whatever, let me tell you what happened.
No, let me tell you what happened.
No, okay, so I've never kissed a guy. So I was so, I mean, you know, Ash was attractive, and I was a 14-year-old little girl, and I was extremely scared for my life.
Sure.
And he was very nice about it. He was like, oh, don't worry. So I was like, okay. Then Danny goes and goes, dude, I'll give you $10 if you French kiss her.
Beyond the shadow of the music mogul, Kutcher's past has caught up with him in terrifying ways. Massive public outrage erupted when it was revealed that Kutcher and Kunis wrote official letters to a judge begging for leniency for their That 70s Show co-star, Danny Masterson, during his high-profile ER trial. Though the couple quickly issued a video apology, the backlash caused them to resign from their own anti-child abuse charity. The scandal forced the public to look back at the toxic environment of That 70s Show itself. A resurfaced 2002 interview revealed that when Kunis was just 14 years old and Kutcher was 19, Masterson bet Kutcher $20 to French kiss her during a scene. Netizens furiously criticized Kutcher for participating in a monetary bet involving an underage girl, painting a dark picture of his early days in the industry.
And she's one of the girls that we're all waiting for to turn 18.
This pattern of questionable behavior toward underage stars runs deep. Internet sleuths dug up another old punked clip where a young Kutcher made highly distasteful comments about then-teenager Hilary Duff, calling her one of the girls that were all waiting to turn 18, before making similar comments about the Olsen twins. People view these disturbing remarks as a direct reflection of a Hollywood culture that normalizes the exploitation of youth. When Kutcher wasn't facing scrutiny for his personal associations, his professional choices sparked accusations of blatant racism. In 2012, he starred in a heavily criticized commercial for Pop Chips, where he donned brownface, wore a turban, and put on a heavily exaggerated, mocking Indian accent to portray a Bollywood producer named Raj. The tone-deaf performance caused instant outrage among Indian Americans, with high-profile comedians calling him out for turning a minority group into a cheap punchline. Pop Chips pulled the ad and apologized, but Kutcher remained completely silent. Morgan Freeman managed to navigate 6 decades in the spotlight by standing his ground and keeping his integrity intact. But as the dark truth claws its way to the surface, Ashton Kutcher's career looks less like a series of lucky breaks and more like a carefully orchestrated contract with a very steep price. Vin Diesel. While Morgan Freeman built a career on pure theatrical dignity and profound respect, other Hollywood heavyweights seem to command the global box office, despite leaving audiences completely bewildered. To many, Vin Diesel, born Mark Sinclair, is the ultimate proof that mainstream success has very little to do with traditional charm or raw cinematic talent. Raised in a New York City artist's housing project by his astrologer and psychologist mother alongside his fraternal twin brother, Diesel never knew his biological father. He dropped out of college to write, produce, and direct his first short film, Multifacial, which managed to screen at the prestigious Cannes Film Festival in 1995. He followed it up with Strays in 1997, catching the attention of legendary director Steven Spielberg. Spielberg went so far as to tailor a specific role for Diesel in the World War II epic Saving Private Ryan, unlocking a golden path to massive big budget studio opportunities.
I'll have the tuna.
No crust?
No crust.
For a massive portion of the theater-going public, checking a movie poster and seeing Vin Diesel's name is the ultimate warning sign that a film is going to fail artistically. Critics and baffled viewers look at his rigid on-screen presence and wonder how a man with such a heavily scrutinized appearance and flat delivery became a global icon. What people find appealing about his tough guy persona remains a total mystery to those outside his fan base. After starring in the sci-fi thriller Pitch Black and the high-finance drama Boiler Room, Diesel spearheaded one of the most lucrative action franchises in history, The Fast and the Furious. Playing the street racing patriarch Dominic Toretto alongside the late Paul Walker, Diesel's status was instantly cemented by studio executives. He bounced from the high-octane X6 to the family comedy The Pacifier, and even let his famous physique go for the courtroom drama Find Me Guilty, before raking in billions by voicing a CGI tree named Groot across the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Even when projects like The Last Witch Hunter and Bloodshot crashed at the box office, Diesel remained fundamentally untouchable. People suggest that when a performer achieves total immunity from bad reviews, their career isn't being guided by luck. It is being engineered by a higher hidden power.
You're under arrest.
Arrest? I don't feel like I'm under arrest. How about you, Brian?
Nah, not a bit.
The illusion of the invincible family man action hero began to crack wide open under the weight of severe, real-world legal battles. In late 2023, a former personal assistant filed a shocking civil lawsuit against Diesel, alleging battery, a hostile work environment, and wrongful termination stemming from a 2010 incident during the filming of Fast 5. The detailed complaint alleged that after a night of entertaining multiple guests in an Atlanta hotel suite, Diesel cornered the assistant, ignored her clear statements of non-consent, and pinned her against a wall. The lawsuit further claimed that a mere few hours after the assault, Diesel's sister, who runs his production company, One Race Films, called the assistant and abruptly fired her. Though Diesel's high-priced legal team categorically denied the outlandish allegations, and the civil suit faced complex territorial dismissals in California state courts due to the incident occurring out of state, people view the horrific nature of the accusations as a window into how the industry truly operates behind closed doors. In the dark corners of Hollywood power structures, compliance is mandatory, and the machine will instantly crush anyone who threatens to disrupt a billion-dollar asset. Morgan Freeman protected his integrity by refusing to subscribe to the corrupted ideologies of the industry, keeping his soul entirely intact over a 6-decade career. But as the dark underbelly of the studio system continues to leak into the public eye, Vin Diesel's manufactured throne looks incredibly fragile. The question isn't how many box office records he can break. The question is, what kind of fortress must you build to keep the dark truth from tearing your empire down? Jonah Hill.
Yo, Sleepy, what's up, homie? You know my cousin, Sad Boy.
I think you got the wrong guy, Holmes.
Everyone's saying about yo, Sleepy, he like the Mexican Wolverine.
While Morgan Freeman stood his ground and refused to subscribe to the mainstream ideologies of Hollywood, others seemed to navigate the cutthroat industry through paths so baffling they defy all conventional logic. Jonah Hill was born and raised in the wealthy circles of Los Angeles. As the son of a fashion designer and a tour accountant for Guns N' Roses, he grew up surrounded by the mechanics of the entertainment business. Alongside his siblings, music manager Jordan Feldstein and actress Beanie Feldstein, Hill was primed for the industry from the start, eventually studying drama at the New School in New York.
A cocksucking motherfucking New Issue Day! This is what you do! Hey, everybody, listen up! This is what happens when you fuck with your pets on New Issue Day!
Yet the speed and scale of his ascent have left a massive portion of the public completely stunned. Hill originally burst onto the scene as part of the Judd Apatow comedy circle, playing stoner sidekicks and anxious, unpopular nerds in movies like Knocked Up, Super Bad, and Forgetting Sarah Marshall. He was the classic second banana to actors like Seth Rogen. But then, in a pivot that mirrored how Tom Cruise cleanly broke away from the Brat Pack, a generation earlier, Hill did the impossible. Within a mere 5 years of screaming crude jokes in Superbad, he secured the co-lead role in Moneyball, acting directly alongside Brad Pitt, earning his first Academy Award nomination. Shortly after, he was handpicked by Martin Scorsese for The Wolf of Wall Street, earning a second Oscar nod. To critics and everyday viewers, a transition from lowbrow teen comedies to the absolute peak of cinematic prestige in such a short window makes no logical sense. People openly suggest that an overnight transformation of this magnitude requires a level of influence that goes far beyond a standard talent agent. As his career skyrocketed into elite artistic territory, the carefully manufactured illusion of the harmless, vulnerable comic actor began to split open. Over the years, the dark energy surrounding his sudden power has leaked into the public eye through severe controversies. A major scandal erupted when Hill was caught on camera using a vicious homophobic slur against a photographer. While he apologized profusely and managed to save his box office numbers for 22 Jump Street, people view the incident as a rare moment where his true, aggressive Hollywood armor slipped. The public perception of Hill darkened even further when his former girlfriend, professional surfer Sarah Brady, leaked a massive series of private text messages from their relationship. The messages exposed a highly controlling, narcissistic environment where Hill weaponized modern therapy talk to manipulate her behavior. Under the guise of setting boundaries, Hill demanded that she stop modeling, delete photos of herself in swimsuits, and stop surfing with men, threatening to end the relationship if she did not comply. Relationship experts and the public furiously called out the behavior as emotional abuse disguised as mental health awareness. This dark revelation became particularly sinister given that Hill had just directed a highly praised Netflix documentary, Stutz, centered entirely around his own therapist and mental health journey, a project he later used as an excuse to completely stop doing public-facing promotional events and media appearances. Morgan Freeman protected his legendary soul by relying on genuine craft and aging gracefully over 6 decades. But Jonah Hill's rapid ascent from a pudgy comedy sidekick to a twice Oscar-nominated power player looks less like natural progression and more like an elite Hollywood calculation. As the public pulls back the curtain on the dark, controlling behavior hidden behind his sensitive artistic persona, people are left with one pressing question. What did it actually cost to buy a seat at Scorsese's table? Rob Schneider.
I beat all you pansies!
While Morgan Freeman aged gracefully with his dignity fully intact, the erratic trajectories of other comedy veterans leave the public questioning what truly happens to a career when the spotlight begins to fade. Robert Michael Rob Schneider is a prime example of a Hollywood figure whose survival in the industry defies conventional logic. Born in Brooklyn, New York, to a nursery school teacher and an electrical engineer, Schneider cut his teeth as a stand-up comic before joining the legendary ranks of Saturday Night Live. From there, his career somehow exploded into a string of high-profile, big-budget studio comedies, including Deuce Bigalow, Male Gigolo, The Hot Chick, and Grown Ups. Yet, to many insiders, Schneider's sudden status as a comedic heavyweight was never a reflection of his standalone talent. Instead, people openly speculate that he exists on Hollywood's occult ledger strictly by proxy. The prevailing theory suggests that Schneider did not deal with the dark side directly. Rather, he sold his loyalty to Adam Sandler, who in turn allegedly traded his soul to the machine for ultimate box office dominance. For decades, Sandler's absolute mandate kept Schneider securely employed, forcing him into major productions long after his solo star power had completely burned out. But when a career is built entirely on a borrowed foundation, the cracks eventually ripple through the individual's psyche. In recent years, Schneider has transitioned from a mainstream actor into one of the internet's most controversial figures. A longtime opponent of childhood vaccinations, his shift from a lifelong Democrat to a vocal right-winger and independent has alienated a massive portion of his former fan base. For over a decade, Schneider has used his platform to spread heavily debunked medical claims, repeatedly asserting a link between childhood immunizations and autism, a dangerous theory that has been thoroughly discredited by the global medical community.
Even a 3-year-old can tell you what a woman is. A woman is someone who gets mad at you for something you did 3 years ago.
His extreme views have triggered massive real-world consequences, costing him lucrative mainstream opportunities. In 2014, insurance giant State Farm completely pulled a high-profile commercial featuring Schneider after consumers revolted against his anti-vaccine rhetoric. Rather than reassessing his stance, Schneider doubled down, aggressively challenging lawmakers over vaccine exemption bills and ultimately viewing the COVID-19 pandemic as a corporate conspiracy. By July 2021, he was actively urging his millions of followers to reject what he falsely labeled as experimental gene therapy. This erratic behavior has completely bled into his live comedy career, transforming his performances into deeply uncomfortable political rallies. During a series of live sets, including a high-profile charity gala for a Canadian hospital foundation, Schneider was roundly booed and physically pulled off the stage by horrified organizers after unleashing a barrage of transphobic, misogynistic, and anti-vaccine jokes. The foundation was forced to issue an unconditional public apology, scrubbing their name entirely from their platforms. As the dark energy surrounding his life continues to mount, the destruction has fractured his own home. In late 2024, his eldest daughter, singer-songwriter Elle King, publicly cut ties with him, exposing a toxic, abusive childhood where he forced her into a weight loss camp and continuously spewed anti-gay and anti-trans rhetoric. To make matters worse, in December 2025, his third wife, Patricia Azarkoya, officially filed for divorce, declaring the marriage irretrievably broken. From picking fights with Hollywood icons like Robert De Niro at industry events to getting blacklisted from major studios, Rob Schneider's chaotic spiral looks less like free speech and more like the violent unraveling of a man whose protection has run out. Morgan Freeman protected his name by keeping his soul clean and standing his ground against Hollywood's madness. But for those who rode into fame on a borrowed contract, the bill always comes due. When your entire empire is built on a proxy deal, what happens when the puppet strings are finally cut? What name on the list shocked you the most? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, click the next video shown on your screen. You will enjoy it.